CBS Evening News anchor Scott Pelley spoke with House Speaker Paul Ryan yesterday for 60 minutes. The congressman and President-elect Trump were often at odds during the campaign, but the speaker says they've moved on from their public attacks and talk on the phone nearly every day.
You called Donald Trump a racist.
No, I didn't. I said his comment was.
Well, I'm not sure there's a great deal of daylight between those two definitions, but he definitely called you ineffective and disloyal. Have you patched it up?
Yeah, we have. We're fine. We're not looking back. We're looking forward. Like I said, we speak about it every day, and it's not about looking forward back in the past. That's behind us. We're way beyond that.
Did you believe he could be nominated? Really?
Yeah, no, I didn't see this one coming. He knows that. Donald Trump's he was a very unconventional candidate. He's going to be an unconventional president. What I like about it in my, like I said, almost daily conversations is he's just a get things done kind of guy.
Have you told him being president is not being CEO of the United States, that the Congress is going to have a say?
Oh, we've talked about that extensively. We've talked about the Constitution, Article 1 on the Constitution, the separation of powers. He feels very strongly, actually, that under President Obama's watch, he stripped a lot of power away from the Constitution, away from the legislative branch of government, and we want to reset the balance of power so that people and the Constitution are rightfully restored.
Scott Pelley is with us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so looking forward to seeing this whole interview because, you know, one of the most interesting things I learned after this election is that in the past 70 years, the Republicans have only controlled all three, the House, Senate, and the presidency, 6 of those years. So it's so rare that they have they have the opportunity to legislate and change things. What's at the top of the agenda that they think they can really get done?
Well, Ryan told us that the #1 bill in the new Congress is going to be the repeal of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. But he also said that doesn't mean they're going to come up with their own plan for health care right away. They're going to repeal it. It's going to be sort of symbolic. And then it could be months or years before there's a Republican plan. I asked him in the interview, so are you going to pull the rug out from under the 20 million Americans who currently have coverage under the ACA? And he said, oh no, that's all going to remain in place until we come up with a plan of our own that will provide health care for everyone.
He has also proposed a huge restructuring of Medicare. Some call it a small privatization of Medicare. Does he think they'll do that?
I am so glad you brought that up because I brought it up in the interview because he's an expert on the budget.
Right.
He considers Medicare and those entitlements to be one of the greatest threats to our country down the road. And he said no, that it is not at the top of their agenda right now. It's something he'd like to get to later. But he said they're much more concerned right now about tax reform and immigration and Obamacare.
Scott, you also interviewed Mike Pence, and Pence and Ryan are close. How critical is that relationship and the connection to President Trump going to be, do you think, in moving this legislation forward?
Well, that's so insightful because it's not at all obvious, but you're right. Pence is a trusted Republican, if you will, a trusted conservative on Capitol Hill. So when Donald Trump is out in public saying things that some Republicans consider to be unreasonable or outrageous, it is Pence who's on Capitol Hill saying, now here's what we're really going to do. Yeah. So Speaker Ryan told me that Pence has been in all the meetings that he's had with Donald Trump. And as president of the Senate, because he will be vice president of the United States, I think Pence is going to be very close to everyone on Capitol Hill.
I appreciated his candor with you, just in a little bit we saw.
That's
where you
the
asked
kind of
him
guy
about
he is.
winning, and he said, no, I didn't see that coming. That's the thing that people say about Paul Ryan, that he's very authentic, that you can believe that he believes what he says and he says what he believes. You mentioned about tax reform. Many people believe that their plan will benefit the rich the most. What did he say about that?
Well, he said that there would be tax cuts for everyone. What they hope to do is bring all of the tax rates down, in particular the corporate tax rate, which is 35% now. They want to bring that down to 20% or 15%. And when I asked him about benefiting the rich most, he essentially conceded that the rich will get a tax break as well, but they want to be seen as providing most of the tax savings to the middle class.
All right, I'm with Nora. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. How did you get that interview, Scott Pelley?
All right, Scott, thanks.
Thank you.
You can see more of Scott's interview with House Speaker Paul Ryan Sunday night on 60 Minutes here on CBS.